What's up, everyone? I'm Selena Easter, and welcome to Lessons in Leadership, your favorite leadership podcast where we sit down with top-rated, world-class leaders to talk all things leadership and learning. This show is designed to give you a behind-the-scenes look into what makes these leaders tick and what it really takes to reach the top. From their successes to their failures, no stone gets left unturned. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss out. Let's get started. All right, so welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Leadership. My name's Selena Easter, and I'm here with Wedgwood GM, Jose Salcedo. Jose, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. I'm so excited to get to talk with you. I think you do so much for an organization, just from a leadership standpoint. You even helped us out with get some guests on Lessons in Leadership. So I just think that your overall sort of passion for personal development, professional development, it just really exudes in everything that you do. So I'm really excited for me personally just to get to learn from you. And then more importantly, the topic that we're touching on today, it impacts every single person's life. Like we're discussing motivation and discipline. So I'm excited to hear kind of what you do personally on your front to stay motivated, to stay disciplined. I think this topic is so interesting because it really can come and go, and no one ever feels 100% motivated 100% of the time. There's people that might feel motivated really often or, can be consistently motivated, but not everyone's going to feel 1,000% ready to go every single day. Some days you can feel like you can go through a brick wall, and then some days you feel like you can't really even get out of bed. So I think that's why this topic is really just interesting to me, and just understanding it more, I think, can help me personally get motivated, can help other people stay motivated as well. So I think where I wanted to start is kind of like, why should we even care about motivation? Why do you think it even matters in the first place?
I would say, motivation is key to what we do here, within our company, mainly because, it's very important for us as leaders to be seen, as the motivators of the team. We are pretty much the lifeline, of the facility. A lot of things that happen within our company, are coming out of, our leaders and the people that we have on the front lines. So to be motivated, obviously it's not end all be all. It's not something that you're going to feel every single day, every second of the day. I know we have our days where we may struggle. We may have our own personal issues that we kind of have to subside just for the greater good of the team and be that person that's willing to stand up front and, lead the team by example. So I would say motivation is key for us as individuals, more so because it allows us to help, kind of take on the daily challenges that we have, especially with all these, trying times going on at the moment. It is very important for us to, to find ways to keep ourselves motivated, to keep ourselves positive, keep ourselves optimistic so that we can, be of better service to all of those around us.
I love that. That's such a solid answer. And I love how you said, like, kind of just putting your own feelings aside and focusing on other, like, reasons or capacities such as your team. I think that's so awesome. Why do you think that people tend, even, myself, like, it's just a human sort of nature to struggle with motivation? Where do you think that kind of stems from, or what are some common reasons why people struggle with it?
I would say, in my opinion, people may struggle with motivation because their reasons for doing, any task may not be closely aligned with their values or their goals. Really have to make sure that, what it is that you're setting out to do is something that is close to your heart. You are doing things from good intent, and that you have an actual game plan as to why it is that you're taking on certain tasks. If it's not something that's closely aligned to your why, you could say life mission or something that you're setting out to do long term, definitely something that, you don't feel all the time. Some days it's amazing, you're feeling on top of it, and other days you are struggling to put one day in front of the other, so it's.
I guess in your own perspective, or like, how do you personally struggle with that, if at all, or, what's, I guess, your sort of common theme that you noticed about yourself as far as like where you struggle and how often, and then how you sort of pull yourself out of that?
I would just say my current or my struggles over time have been just more so the perspective as to how I'm approaching, whatever task I may have at hand. It really starts from the beginning of your day, how it is that you approach your daily routines, your habits, your rituals, you would say. A lot of people like to say that they have their morning routines. Some people may have it, some people may not. But you do have to have something that sets the tone for your day. You do have to have, whether it's waking up 4, 5, 6 a.m. to get a workout in, a walk, a meditation session, just anything that kind of helps you put yourself in the right state of mind to approach the day. I know personally I've struggled, with all that's going on right now. Some days you're going into work knowing that you're, going to be facing that one member that's upset about this policy or that policy, or you may be having, just certain club dilemmas that you have to approach. It's very important that, you as a leader do what you need to do to take care of yourself before the start of the day, to make sure that you're showing up with the right mindset.
Really powerful. And you touched on so many key things. I liked how you said that a lot of it comes from like your sort of reasoning being aligned with like your values or goals. I guess for you personally, how do you decide your own values or find what matters to you most?
I would say personally, I have my own mantra, my own life motto for myself is my sole priority, for why I do what I do is to be the best version of myself so that I can be of better service to others. I firmly believe that it is, your obligation as a leader to bring your best to work every single day, no matter how you feel, no matter what may be going on outside of work or, situations that you may be dealing with in your personal life. It is your obligation to bring your best to work because the people in this, in your establishment or the people that you correlate with on a daily basis, they count on you. They may count on you for, obviously your work duties to be carried out in a certain way. You may be the person that brings energy to the team when, morale may be low. So it is important that you're doing, what you need to do. Take care of yourself before you can take care of, those people on your team.
Well, I guess digging a little bit deeper, like what I guess, or what's the reasoning behind you wanting to be the best version of yourself or to serve others? Like, do you have like even like a deeper like meaning to that or reason for that?
I would say for me, it's more so I like to find my role in the lives of those people that I encounter. I want for myself to be remembered as somebody that did everything that, that I could to help, those people that have come around me, you would say, whether, I share a book with you, whether I have a talk that, brings to light certain things that you may not have seen in a certain way or however it may be. I like to find my role in the lives of others and do whatever I can to fulfill that role. Sometimes it's it's just a matter of me understanding that in what we do there's a bigger reason for what we do. It's not just carrying out the monotonous tasks of our day-to-day lives. It's more so you're here to help everybody else.
That's so powerful. Like a lot of it's just about like creating meaning or purpose in your own life and finding that and really holding true to that because that's what's going to keep you going. Because there's going to be days, to your point, it's like, wow, I really don't want to go into work today because of this, or I know going into this, like this is going to really suck today because of whatever reason. It's like your why or reason or purpose has to be so profound that you can put those challenges aside and realize you still have a job to get done. So that's a really amazing advice. Awesome. What about, I want to kind of touch on like laziness because I feel like everyone has had days where they just want to stay in bed, they're in bed, they don't want to get out of bed. And I feel like with laziness, I perceive it as kind of like a slippery slope. I think if you're a really active person and your habit's just to be active, like you probably won't want to just lay in bed all day and watch movies or anything. That's just not the habits you've created. But then on the flip side, if you do give yourself that sort of leniency to watch movies throughout the day, be lazy, lay in bed, maybe you're just like scrolling through social media or watching YouTube videos all day, whatever it is, it's like the more you lay in bed, the more you want to lay in bed, and like the harder it is to get up. And yeah, I was just like kind of curious your perspective on that, and yeah, just how you kind of overcome those challenges yourself regarding that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me say this. So I would say my thoughts on that is more so, rest and recovery is important, especially after, a long week of work. Some of us have a lot of things going on outside of work. Some people have kids, families, other things that I personally, don't deal with, with no kids and all. But we all have certain things on the outside that are challenging. So it's very important that you give yourself time to unwind, just kind of let back, relax, watch a movie, Netflix, maybe, go out to eat somewhere nice, whatever it is. You do need that rest. Now, you do have to, understand that rest could be a double-edged sword because if you are just, overindulging in the rest, maybe you know, sit there way longer than necessary, it can have a negative effect. How you say, you may spend the whole day watching Netflix and then you feel lazier, you feel unproductive, or you feel unmotivated to do anything else. That's fine, but you do have to understand that, there's a time and a place for that, in my opinion.
No, yeah, I think so. I think you're right too. I think it's for the way I view it, it's kind of like you have to earn that time to get to lay down, if that makes sense. It's like bust your butt all day so that at the end of the day you can like shower, just feel so comfortable and feel proud of yourself for, accomplishing however much you did. So that way when you are in bed, like for me, like I don't want to feel guilty about, getting to watch a movie that I've been looking forward to, or maybe you want to read a book or go swimming or hang out with your friends or whatever it is. It's like, to me, it's all about like earning that time to rest and recover. To your point, I think it's really great advice from the sense that like sometimes we can overdo it and go on the other extreme end where it's like we don't give ourselves time to like rest and recover, which is equally as important as like working hard.
And I always ask myself, because I have like certain rules and boundaries that I give myself when it comes to like things like Netflix or, movies and such. It's like, it's more so I plan it in my schedule, but I always ask myself, is it like, are you resting or recovering, or are you trying to escape from something? Are you trying to avoid that one task that it is that you know that you have to do, but you're just putting it off because of, oh, I need the rest, or I need to just unwind for whatever reason. So
That's a really interesting point, because something that I've sort of forced myself to do is like the thing that I don't want to do the most, I'll try to make myself like do that first, just because I don't want to say it's like a form of like punishment or something, but it's like I know like I freaking don't want to do task X. So like I'll purposely do it first. That way that in my mind I don't just keep like pushing off my task list. Or do you have any, I guess, techniques similar to that you do?
just how you say, like, make it be the first thing in the morning. One of the things that I've personally been dealing with lately is I have been having issues with, working out. I like to think of myself as somebody that likes to get after it and that prioritizes, the health and fitness aspect of everything. But lately, I've having issues with a slight shin injury that I've been having when in regards to running. And this whole week, I've been putting off running because any slight discomfort or any sort of pain that I may have, I write it off for the next day. Right? I'll run tomorrow. I'll run tomorrow. And a funny story, this morning I finally just got out there, just didn't think about it, threw the shoes on and got out there, 30 minutes. But it set the tone for the day, and it's that you have to understand that, those type of tasks or those things that you're putting off, or that one thing that you feel like you're going to do down the line, eventually you'll get to it. It may not ever come if you keep putting it off, or maybe that opportunity may pass you, if you keep putting it off. So whatever it is that you have to do first thing in the morning that's scary or challenging, just get after it. Just do it.
Just do it like Nike. I liked how you said it set the tone for your day. And I think people don't realize like there's like this barometer of respect that you have for yourself. And it's if you don't do the things you don't want to do, like your barometer goes down. It's like you start to respect yourself less, but because it's just like you're giving into your every like sort of need or desire of your body. It's like, oh, I don't want to get up because I'm tired. I'd rather sleep, or I rather, it's like you don't want to sacrifice your sleep or your fun or whatever it is to reach your goals. But the more that you like sacrifice or actually do the things you don't want to do to get closer to your goals, it's just the more you're going to respect yourself overall.
Yes, I like how you say, the relationship with yourself, it's everything. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else, because that relationship that you have with you is you're the person that you have to see every single day. And if you're not keeping the promises that you make to yourself, then who are you telling? So it's very important that you do what you need to do to fulfill those things that that you deeply desire. Whether it's starting running, or losing weight, or trying this diet, or maybe you want to try new things with your leadership approach. Like, you just have to make sure that if you say you do something, you want to do something, you have to take action in that direction. If not, you'll start to go down that negative route of non-self belief, right? You have those people that can say, oh, I could never do that. Maybe you could. You may not want to, but maybe you do have what it takes to get that done. It's just your current mindset in the moment does not allow for that.
Mindset. That's kind of the next sort of direction I want to take this conversation. Whenever you wake up in the morning, even let's just stick with working out, because I feel like if you work out first thing in the morning, that's like the first sort of battle you have with yourself. What's your inner dialogue in the morning with running, if you're a runner every morning, when your alarm goes off, or maybe you just like you naturally wake up, whatever it is? What's your inner dialogue? What does that sound like in your head when?
Um, Sometimes it's something that I can't share on this podcast. But it's a true thing. Some days I wait. I wake up, we wake up, anybody could wake up just feeling great. You had a great night's rest. Your week has been going good. Everything's just been on the up and up, and you wake up ready to kill it, right? You're ready to go. Your alarm goes off, or sometimes you wake up before your alarm and you're just, going about your business in an efficient way. On the contrary, you have those days like you hit snooze a couple times. You may take a little longer than normal to get through your daily duties, and um, your dialogue in that morning is more so what works for me would be telling myself that I choose to do this. I'm not being forced to. If I say I'm going to wake up early and work out, that was my choice. So why is it that I am, complaining or moping around to do something that I said I was going to do? I also ask myself, would skipping this workout or foregoing this thing that I don't want to do, is it going to help me long term, or is it going to be detrimental, to these goals that I have? So more times than not, I choose to work out regardless of how I feel, and I feel better after. I'm sure you're familiar. You recommended this book to us earlier, The Compound Effect, right? The choices that you make compound over time, whether for good or for bad. So I try to, make it a point to choose, things that correlate with my goals more times than not.
That's amazing. And I think you touched on something really key, which is like considering the alternative. And that I consider that inner dialogue because I work out like first thing in the morning too. And I think to your point, like more often than not, like you can create that habit and you're used to waking up. Like I don't even have to put my alarm. Like my body just wakes up at like ungodly hours of the day. And I'm just like, most of the time I'm like ready to go. But say like I'm just so sore, like every part of my body's sore. It's like I'm extra tired. I just feel like I need that rest. It's much more difficult to get up and, stay active. So I feel like that's like the first battle I have is like in my own mind to like, you're going to war with yourself of like just a mental sort of dialogue of why you should or shouldn't. And it's like, the angel and the devil, like, trying to convince you. But I think considering the alternative has been really helpful for me. So for instance, if I don't want to get up, I'm like, okay, what's the alternative? Like if I begin to skip workouts and it's like going to be harder for me to breathe or walk around or move or, all this work that I did, I'm slowly like undoing it because of the choices that I make, So I think that's like a good way to stay motivated is like, okay, what's going to happen if I don't do this? And usually if the reasoning is strong enough, it'll get you fired up to get up in the morning,
And then you realize after you're done, hey, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, you always like feel better, and then you like what I was saying, like you just feel proud of yourself after the fact. You're like, man, I didn't want to go, I still went though, and then I feel better about myself. I'm getting closer to my goals, whatever those are for you. I want to ask about like your daily habits and like what role you think those play into your ability to like stay motivated or disciplined.
I think that's everything. That's the foundation of your execution of your daily tasks, right? My daily habits, as of late, I've really made it a point to really try to just systemize my day as much as possible and kind of control my controllables, right? So the few things that I can't control, I'd like to make sure that I stay on top of that because, days are unpredictable, you never know what kind of day you're going to have. So if you have some sort of control, it kind of gives you, a sense of confidence for your day. So one thing that I've been doing lately is actually purchased an actual alarm clock lately, and I've been going away from using my phone to wake up. I put my phone on the other side of the room, so if I do want to get it first thing in the morning, I have to get up out of bed and go get that. So I have the traditional alarm clock now. My current routine is I'm trying to get up at 4 in the morning, more so that I have enough time to, take care of me before I could, go on about my day. So first thing in the morning is obviously get your cup of Joe, do a little bit of reading. I'm really big on this book called The Daily Stoic. At the moment, it's just daily meditations, a quick read that you could read at the beginning of your day just to kind of give you a bit of perspective of the daily nuances that we deal with. From there, I make sure that I either, get my workout in or help. I'm currently helping a sister of mine with her workout. She's wanted to get back into working out and training. So I'm making it a point to kind of inviting her over to a backyard setup that I have. And we're kind of just, walking her through all of that. And I go about that and, just get ready for work, get everything ready, make sure you pack your lunch, bring your water, and just get on with the day. So
I think that's so important to, if you have a daily routine, you're kind of creating like a system or a set of like rules or accountability for yourself that this is what I do every day. This is my routine. And then if something's off, like you're going to feel like you're not holding yourself accountable or sticking to your set of rules or habits or whatever it is. Very good. Why do you think being consistent is so challenging? Even people with like routines or they have discipline, whatever it is, like why do you think it's so hard to remain consistent?
I would say it's hard because, I mean, life is unpredictable. You know, as much as we think we can control everything, you know, a lot of things are out of our control. And, you know, you may have a perfect game plan, but imperfect execution. You know, day to day, there's changes, you know, with the rapid change of, you know, daily life now, like you never know what's going to happen. So the inconsistency aspect, I would say, boils down to, you know, your habits and routines, your game plan. You do have to have a set of rules that you know, abide by no matter what. Because if not, then you'll find yourself just scattered. You know, you mentioned earlier about having your set of core values or a deep sense of meaning in what you do. I find that when I have that, I'm able to stay the course on, you know, the path that I'm choosing to be on. A lot easier as opposed as, you know, me not having a set of guidelines for myself because there's no tangible rule that I can't break no matter what. You know, I'm just kind of, oh, one day I could do this, or one day I could cheat on the diet, or I'll stay up till midnight watching the movie on a Tuesday night when I know I have to be up at this time. So when you have a certain set of rules, it helps you be consistent. At least that's what I've found.
I think it's so key to have a game plan, not just one game plan, but to me, you have to have like multiple game plans. Because if like plan A doesn't work, you have to be able to put plan B into place. If plan B doesn't work, you have to be able to put plan C into place. And I think for me, I try to tell, like my philosophy is like no excuses, because I think to your point, there's always things that can come up. Life is so unpredictable. It could start raining when you're, you know, in the middle of your run. You can be like, oh, it's raining. Like, I better stop and go back home. Or like, oh, you have a blister. It really hurts when you're trying to do your workout. Oh, I have a blister. I better stop. But it's just like these little things. We want to give in to like every little sort of inconvenience or discomfort because sometimes our brain doesn't want to do something so bad. We're looking for an excuse not to.
And I've been there. You know, I'm not to say I'm immune to that. Like currently this week and in times in the past. So it's definitely something that we're all susceptible to. I'm not saying there's one individual who's just going to be perfect all the time, but you do have to make it a point to catch yourself when you're there.
Mm.
Something that's really helped me in the past year that I'll plug in is I'm sure a few people with the company are familiar with Andy Frisella and his famous 75 hard program. It's definitely a challenge. It is very hard. It calls for 5 daily tasks to be executed no matter what, and one of those being 2 workouts a day, regardless of the weather, regardless of the time. It's a few things that you have to get done no matter what. So that program teaches you what we just talked about. Is you have these rules that you do every single day, no matter what, and it's up to you. You know, if you find a way to get through it 75 days straight, then you complete the challenge. If not, then you know you understand that you know the the level of commitment that it takes to execute on something on a daily level. It's very hard.
It is. And I think too, people forget that like things take time. And so if they're not seeing the progress, the results right away, whatever it is, whatever your goals are, if you're in school and you're having to study, you know, all night to try to take a test and maybe you didn't do that well in the test, even though you studied, like it can be very discouraging when you're not seeing the results that you're hoping for, even if you are putting the work in. So I think too, just like managing expectations is really important. Yeah, and then just pushing yourself, having those set of like rules in mind. I remember being in school and having to study all night and be like, oh, my room's kind of messy, I better go clean, I shouldn't study right now. Or like, oh, it's too cold in here, I better go turn on the air. Like, or whatever it is, like just any sort of thing that you're looking for, you know, to like get out of what you really know you need to be doing. That's crazy. What about, do you think, obviously hard work plays such a huge role in being motivated and reaching your goals, but do you think that there's times that you need to work smarter compared to harder? And if so, when?
I would say it depends. You know, I would say it is important to systemize a few things and to kind of the monotonous that can be handled in an easier way. By all means, go for it. But you have to be willing to recognize when working smarter may be seen as a cop out to doing the real work that needs to be done. You know, every single day there's certain things that you have to do, no matter what, how you feel. And some of those times it may not be too pleasant to execute on those tasks. So the whole working smarter thing to me, like it works, but you have to understand when and where that applies.
I think that's really solid advice and an interesting sort of perspective to take on it, because I think to your point, when you're trying to make progress, sometimes it's better to take the long route so that you can really learn all the different intricacies and like challenges of that. I think too, there are like times and places when it's better to work smarter, because then you will reach your goals faster in some senses. And I always think of like, different like system, like a pulley system, right? Like you can pick up a huge heavy rock that's going to be really hard. Maybe you can't even pick it up, but you can use like a pulley and then you can easily get it up. So I think just being able to identify when those times are that you need to work smarter, not harder. And I think obviously the more you see your results, you're going to get, it's sort of like feeding back into your motivation, because you're like, wow, like this is actually working. So then that keeps you motivated when you actually see the progress or you get closer to your goals. Very good. Any final thoughts or anything else you want to share on motivation, discipline, things that have helped you?
I would say, to quote Mr. Jocko Willink, discipline equals freedom. And obviously the whole motivation route, it's very easy to spill a whole bunch of motivational quotes and all these things to get you riled up. There's countless, videos or content on YouTube that are going to make you feel good in the moment. But it's very important that you do something with the motivation. Those days that you feel good, you feel riled up, make it a point to really, understand why is it that you're wanting to do this thing, and how close is that tied to your overall life mission. The closer it is, the easier it is going to be to execute on whatever it is that somebody may want to do. In doing so, just understand that there will be moments where you may see obstacles. Push through anyways, find a way, write down a game plan, execute on the game plan, have a good support system, whatever it is that helps you, because you'll find that on the other end of these challenges, you will learn so much about yourself in ways that you may not have thought. And I feel like that is us executing on our purpose for being here, right? Push yourself, grow, and help share the knowledge with other people.
It's amazing sort of final thoughts, because I think people forget that too. It's just, I was a sociology major and they shared this like study in school that they were saying like people rate their own happiness as like, say that they have 5 goals, like the closer they are to those 5 goals, then like their happiness is like rated higher. So if you're not really reaching your goals like internally, like you consider yourself to be like unhappy essentially. And I think to your point, like discipline equaling freedom, like if you're disciplined, you're doing or taking the steps you need to take to get closer to your goals. And that's why it's going to equal, whether it's like, oh, I want more money, or I want a better body, or I want to, whatever it is, grow and, your academics, like the more disciplined you can be, like the closer you can get to those goals, which is going to make you feel happier, make you feel even more disciplined, if it's like just like a feedback loop in a way.
Exactly. And whatever it is that's scaring you, go for it. I will say this, me even being on this podcast is, something that is way outside of my comfort zone, but this is something that's, in a direction of what I ultimately want to do is I want to help people at scale and, help bring out everybody's best self.
Well, you helped me bring out my best self. Like and I'm not just saying this, just talking to you today, I'm like, oh, that's like a really cool like perspective, or just you're bringing unique value to the table. And I appreciate you stepping out of your comfort zone. I think you did a really awesome job today, and the team's going to learn a lot from it. I learned from it. And I think even if we can just help one person, like we're doing our part, to push forward our passion and purpose for 2020. So let's say thank you so much for jumping on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Selena. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, be sure to subscribe on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you consume podcasts. You can be the first to know each and every time we post brand new content. Be sure to rate, review, and share. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope today's episode has brought you that much closer to your success. And don't